This is not a solution I would have preferred, but the compromise was finally reached by the White House and congressional leaders has the potential to end what was a man-made crisis. It is a solution that finally puts common sense and the national interest above partisanship and ideology. We have to understand the choice is not this bill or something better, because I would look for something better if I could. But the choice at hand is between the only bipartisan practical solution to the debt ceiling crisis or a devastating default in the nation's debts for the first time in America's history. Such a default would send shockwaves throughout our fragile economy, actually throughout the world. It would, in effect, slap a rate tax, a credit rate tax on every household and every business in Vermont and across the country and every other state. Now, just as our Vermont families are having to make difficult financial decisions, we need to make long-term budget reforms and spare the country the ordeal of going through this torment again just a few months from now. The Special Congressional Committee to recommend future deficit reduction may include revenue measures. I'm going to continue to push for an end to outdated tax loopholes, like tax loopholes for big oil companies or for those who ship American jobs overseas instead of creating jobs here in the United States. And I want the wealthiest Americans to pay their fair share. If the Special Congressional Committee fails to make bipartisan recommendations, then the agreement calls for cuts in defense spending, but also for protections for Social Security, Medicare benefits, Medicaid, veterans benefits, and child nutrition. And I strongly support these protections, and I argue to have them in the package. You know, the United States Senate, throughout the history of our wonderful country, has shown its remarkable ability to rise up in times of crises and reflect the conscience of our nation. Now is such a time to do it for the good of the country, for Democrats and Republicans to rise to the occasion in both chambers and put an end to this debt ceiling crisis.